In my previous video, I talked about why I'm going to start transitioning into talking more about software engineering and AI. For those of you who have seen my videos for quite some time, you know I was doing a lot of finance related content. But as I'm a software engineer and I've been doing this for almost 8 years, actually it's going to be 9 years this year, which is insane. I thought that it might be good to lean into something that I already know. And the coolest thing happened. This morning I woke up, and let me show you all the screen here. This morning I woke up to this screen right here. This video has gotten 479 views since it was published. Now let me tell you, when I went to sleep last night, my view count was like maybe at 20 or 30 views. I was sitting at 154 subscribers. This morning I woke up to now I think I have 168 subscribers and I got 479 views, which for me, a small channel, is incredible. So for everyone that has watched the video, subscribed, and even commented, first and foremost, just thank you so much. It's a very strong signal to me that the pivot is actually worth it. And I'm even more excited now just to talk more about it. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking more about what I think the software engineering role will become and sort of the three different camps that people fall into. Okay, so let's get right into it, just like I always like to do. So let's start with this image right over here. So I'm an optimist, okay? I am the type of person that sees the glass half full, not the glass half empty. And I wanted to put this picture up here of this weather because you can see it says precipitation 25%. I'm the type of person that, people will say, hey, there's a 25% chance it's going to rain. And I say, well, that means there's a 75% chance that it won't. Okay, so generally I have a very positive outlook on life. I do think that overall, if you're doing something, if you have a good head on your shoulders, and if you just stick to it and just try to really approach life in a very methodical way and just believe in yourself, then odds are you'll probably end up okay. And I think with the introduction of AI, that really is no different. So before we dive in, I really just wanted to lay that as the groundwork that I am an optimist. And this video really is grounded in that. So, continuing on here, we have some different personas, right? There's three different types of people when it comes to AI and the way that I feel AI will sort of evolve the software engineering role. There's person one, and this is person one, the person that runs away. And you and I might know this person, right? Even at the job that I work on today, and I was one of these people, which is the craziest thing, especially now that I'm on sort of the other side of the fence. I was one of these people that thought, AI is definitely going to replace me. It's the sort of doomsday scenario. I'm not really going to leverage AI. I still want to keep my skills to my own and really still write everything by hand because that's really where I get the most joy from, the art of crafting and building the software and doing the actual coding. I was on this side for a very long time. These are the people that are running away. They don't really believe in AI. They think maybe it's just a fad. I'm sure all of us know someone like this. You, just like me, maybe were even someone like this before. And I'm not saying there's really anything wrong with that because there's always going to be a variety of people that sit in a variety of different camps. But again, just to iterate on this is the person that for all intents and purposes, they're just going to wait until the fad is over. And when and if that time comes, maybe they'll catch up at that point. But little do they know that with the speed that AI is evolving, it'll be very hard for them to catch up when that time does eventually come, which I think it will. The time where AI is so embedded into our culture. Even at now it already is, but it will just probably continue doing more so in the following years. Okay, so that's camp one. This is the person that runs away and the person that doesn't really believe in AI. Okay, this is the second now. The second person is the one that barely uses it. And the reason I have this iceberg meme here or this iceberg template is because these are the people that sit right on top, right? They're just barely scratching the surface with AI. And I think a lot of us also sit in this camp as well, myself included. If anything, I would say this is kind of where I am currently, although my head is in camp 3, which I'll explain in a second. But these are the people that were like, you know what, let me start using ChatGPT, let me start using maybe Grok, let me start adding some extensions to something like Visual Studio Code, let me start interacting with it just like I'm chatting with someone. Let me ask questions, let me see what it offers me. But I'm not really using it as a power user. I'm not understanding how prompts work, how to give, a system prompt that acts as a role, how to use MCP servers. I'm just really barely scratching the surface, but I am getting a production boost, okay? I'm really just simply asking, how do I do this? How do I do that? Show me how to do this. Why'd this go wrong? Very basic, simple and answer, or not simple and answer, very basic, simple question and answer workflows. That's exactly how people like this are using it. And they're sort of still on the side where, okay, I'm not running away from it, but I'm not fully, convinced that it's going to really replace us. But hey, it allows me to get work done a little bit faster. I kind of enjoy it. And I might as well learn a little bit about it because it's not really going to be too bad. And I think this is the majority of where the people sit at, right? For people that are just getting into it, or people that don't really know too much about it, they're just using it in a simple way, getting a small production boost from it, and seeing where things go. If they don't really like it, they're okay stepping back away from it. But if they really do like it, then they'll eventually end up in camp 3, which is the camp that I'm hoping to go to. And I hope that it's the camp that a lot of you watching are hoping to go to as well. Now, camp 3 here is the person that develops a deep understanding. Okay, now I'm going to dive into this a little bit later, but if you remember, there is a tweet that I showed from Carpathier, okay? He's so famous that people just use his last name, where he went over sort of how you can 10x yourself as an AI engineer, right? And I think really the role will go into an AI engineer slash orchestrator, the person who develops the deep understanding, the person who can use the tool set, really evangelize it and help those around them really enable themselves to use AI. I think this is really where a lot of us should stand today. And I'll sort of stop there just so that way I can elaborate a bit more on it later in the video, but you have the 3 camps, right? You have number 1, the people that are going to run away from it. You have number 2, the people that barely use it. They're still like barely scratching the surface. And then you have people in camp 3 that are really embracing it, really trying to develop that deep understanding. So just based on that, we should try and figure out where it is that we sit. Okay, so let's move on to the next piece here, right? I tried to create this sort of like Miro board, but I'm using Excalidraw because it's a free alternative. So before even going into the examples, what I want to do, and I'm going to lay my microphone really softly here so you don't hear any feedback, is I want to talk about outliers, right? So I'm going to switch over to my iPad view here. Let's talk about outliers. Let's think about people that are in, let's say you're like in a class that's very type A personality. You have a lot of people. I just want to imagine that all these different circles right here represents individuals, right? And let's say these individuals are maybe part of a class, like I was telling you, or maybe part of a sports team. But in this case, let's reference it with AI, right? You're going to have people that are maybe, ones. And when I say ones, I mean this is person 1, the person that runs away. You're going to have some people that sit in number 2 that are barely scratching the surface. And then you're going to have some 3s, right? The way that I see this sort of evolving is you're always going to have outliers. So let's say everyone actually starts becoming a number 3, right? This is just a visualization to show you that you're going to have this spread of people that are 1s, 2s, and 3s. But let's actually do a little bit of a backtrack here now. Let's undo all this. And now imagine everyone's a 3. So now we live in a world where every single person now has AI enablement, right? But even still, there's going to be some people that rise a little bit higher. There's going to be people that rise even higher, maybe at the same level, even higher, even higher. So even with AI, everyone having AI, there will still always be people that are outliers, people that really use the technology more so than others. And those are the people that will get rewarded. Those are the people that will really benefit from using AI. So why am I giving you all an example like this? Well, the reason I think that this example is so important because we tend to think that because AI comes, it will replace people. But as soon as it becomes the norm, as soon as people are just using the tool like everyone else and it becomes the baseline, there will naturally be people that still continue pushing the boundaries and still continue getting better and better and better. So all that being said is there's always room for you to grow. Okay, there's always room for you to become better and not necessarily have the tool just replace you. It's really about embracing it, learning the tool set, helping others embrace that mindset, right? Think of yourself in a really, really competent sports team. You might have 5 basketball players that are all really good, but then there's going to be that one person that becomes the MVP, right? Like everyone in the NBA, for example, is generally very good at basketball, yet you still have one person that's the MVP. Okay, and I just wanted to sort of take that approach. There's a really famous movie, and I wasn't even, well, I don't want to say super famous, but let's go back to my browser view here. There's a movie called, let me see, 21 movie, right? This movie 21 right here, there's this guy that ends up counting cards in Las Vegas, and the main character, I think his name, Jim Sturgis, Ben Campbell, he's trying to get into Harvard Medical School, right? And when he tries to get into Harvard Medical School, he's talking with who I assume is the dean of admissions or something like this. And he's telling him, I have this background, I got A's and I was part of all these clubs. And the dean tells him, well, everyone that's here got A's and has been in so many clubs. Like, what really differentiates you? And then really the point of the movie is he goes in the movie and what differentiates him is that actually he goes to Vegas and becomes a counting cards expert, right? So think of yourself in that similar mindset of, okay, AI, everyone's using AI now, which is akin to everyone trying to get into Harvard Med. How can I become the differentiator? How can I still grow? And again, that's all to say that even with AI, you just won't be replaced. There'll just be new opportunities for different types of people. So just really, really keep that in mind. I think it's a good perspective to have. Let's go back to the whiteboard here because there's a lot more things I want to show. I want to go to some examples, right? Let me place the microphone back down here really slowly. Let's talk about some examples of things that became, or not became, but came before us, right? Things that maybe at the time people felt threatened by. I think a good example here is the calculator, okay? When the calculator came out, math did not disappear. If anything, expectations increased, the problems became harder, not easier. Okay, I think with AI, what is going to happen? It's not like just because now we have AI, all the problems in the world are solved, and now we can just live like in WALL-E, for example, the characters in WALL-E that do like nothing and just like slurp their big gulps from 7-Eleven or whatever, right? I think AI will make us more productive and it will speed up our workflows, but because of that, we will unveil a new set of problems, okay? The problems will not go away. There's still going to be a ton of new complexities, but because we now have AI, the problems will get that much harder. So it's not replacing, it's actually just increasing the ceiling. If anything, it's allowing us to become more creative, explore new areas that we haven't even been able to explore before. I mean, think about this for a second, right? Odds are if you've used AI, anywhere in any capacity, you've likely done things with it that you probably weren't even willing to try before. The opportunity cost now to try something is so low that maybe you're like, hey, I'll create a new app one day, I'll create another app another day, or I'll ask this question, or maybe I'll interact with AI in a way I've never done. The ability for you to get new information has drastically improved. But if you really think about it, life still feels sort of the same. We're all accelerating faster and maybe solving problems, and maybe it's because we haven't reached that boiling point yet, but we still have problems that we need to solve. That's never going to change. I frankly don't think that will ever change. You just need to become the type of person that's willing to solve those problems and be a part of that group instead of run away from it. And maybe that's going to hurt you a little bit, right? So let's go back to our examples here, which I think are good to have. So the first one was the calculator here, right? The second one I want to get into was, let's look at something like Excel, right? Microsoft Excel was their killer app, okay? Excel did not eliminate business jobs. Okay, it eliminated manual repetition. It created things like power users, analysts, and operators, okay? It empowered a whole group of people that were doing this type of business analysis, okay? This is a random image I pulled from Google, so any of these names, if they match your name, it's just purely coincidental. I didn't actually, this is not like real data for all intents and purposes, but this was their killer app. It created a whole new set of jobs and it just empowered the people that were already using these workflows to begin with, okay? It didn't really change so much. We still have the same problems today. We're just approaching them in a different way. Okay, all that being said, where does this all take us, okay? The AI engineer and the orchestrator. I want to again revisit this post from Karpathy and just read a very important line here. It says, there's a new programmable layer of abstraction to master, in addition to the usual layers below, involving agents, sub-agents, their prompts, context, memory nodes, memory, modes, permissions, tools, plugins, skills, hooks, MCP, LSP, slash commands, workflows, IDE integrations, and it needs to build an all-encompassing mental model for strengths and pitfalls of fundamentally stochastic, fallible, and unintelligible and changing entities suddenly intermingled with what used to be good old-fashioned engineering. So I think this all trends towards this new role, the AI engineer and orchestrator, right? You are the puppeteer of your tooling. You are someone that uses AI intentionally. You know which tools to use. You can chain tools and systems together. It will amplify your judgment instead of replacing it. This person evangelizes AI usage responsibly and it helps team adopt better workflows. So again, this is what I think ultimately all this tooling is going to take us to, right? The new role, the AI engineer and orchestrator, the person that can really use these tools, all these different types of tools that Karpathy mentioned, and synthesize them in a way that enables other people, enables new workflows, enables you to become more productive. This is where, if we go back to that list of the outliers, let me go back to the iPad, right? We have the different outliers. We have person sitting in this camp. We have person sitting in this camp here. We have person sitting in this camp here. These are going to be the outliers. These are going to be the people that really learn how to become a puppeteer. And maybe that's a better term for the new role, right? The AI puppeteer, the person that uses all these tools to better empower those around them, improve their workflows, and overall just have a better, let's say, a better relationship with software, a better relationship with product, and everything that a software developer needs to be involved in, right? Design, all that good stuff. It's just going to help you get really to that next level. That's really where I see all this going, okay? So I want you to think about this very, very clearly. Let's go back to this, right? We have the AI Engineer Orchestrator, intentional AI use, knowing which tools to use. Read this post from Karpathy, and really, if he's saying something like this, it's really, really important, right? So I want you to take everything that we've talked about today, really put it into perspective. Where is it that you fall? Are you person one? Are you going to run away from it? Are you person two? Maybe you're this today already. You're barely scratching the surface. Or maybe you're person three. You want to develop a deep understanding. One thing I can tell you for sure is if you are adaptable, if you are flexible, if you are willing to put the work in, you will be rewarded. And here's something that I firmly believe, right? Anything that is worthwhile in life is difficult. If it wasn't difficult, everyone would do it. There's a lot of people that just say, oh, I'm tired. I don't really want to do this anymore. This is not really what I signed up for. Let those people continue thinking that. Frankly, and from my perspective, I don't feel that way. I am blessed to be in a position where I get to be a software engineer. I still think that tech is an amazing role to be in. And I do think there's some benefits that come with that, but you have to be willing to put the work in, okay? Anything that is hard, anything that is worthwhile is difficult. You need to work at it. So why would tech be any different, okay? So what I would encourage you to do is, if you're watching, keep learning about AI. Hopefully my channel can be a good resource for you. I am right here alongside you, trying to become better myself. I'm going to continue making content like this to give you my thoughts on what I think about AI, where I stand on all this, and hopefully maybe some new videos that will help you learn more about AI, just like I am myself. So if you like the video, subscribe, comment, leave me your thoughts, let me know. And I'm so excited to see you all. Again, thank you to everyone who watched that first video. I mean, that was just insane. Let's go back to that right now. So video analytics, 479 views since it was published. This is phenomenal for me. I promise you, as a brand new YouTube channel, this is just incredible for me to see. So it makes me very happy. So with all that being said, I will see you all next time. Have a great rest of your day. And I guess that's it. Learn AI, have fun with it, and just keep coding, keep doing what you love. See you all next time. Later.